Hello, my name is Mark Dabney, and the title of this message, why is this flag upside down? Some people may think it's an insult. Actually, it's a symbol. What a flag that is hoisted upside down means, it is a distress signal, meaning we are behind enemy lines. We've been overrun. This message is to explain we have been under what is properly called insidious occupation. We have been lied into believing that we have the form of government the founders intended. The fact of the matter is we have the outward trappings of a representative form of government that engages in endless political theatrics to distract attention away from the fact that they have all lied to us, left and right alike. They've lied us into believing that a welfare state will help lift up the poor. They have lied us into believing that the warfare state keeps us safe from the entirely contrived boogeyman. The fact of the matter is that once you understand the issues that they're actively avoiding telling us, that there's criminal elements that have basically seized power within our system, not just within the government, within the media, within so-called law enforcement, and basically they believe that they're above the law because any transgression of the moral law to which we will all ultimately be held accountable, they use the term national security to avoid accountability. None of the carpetbaggers, and by carpetbaggers I mean politicians that operate under presumptive authority, none of them dare address the fact that our Constitution has been fraudulently changed, including the so-called Reconstruction Amendments that were coerced upon the South following Lincoln's War. And I've heard people, I'm with the party of Lincoln. Yeah, okay, so are you admitting that you're a Marxist? Because Lincoln and the various Union generals were all Marxists. Of course, they don't want to admit it because, oh, well, I'm with the party of Lincoln. Well, Lincoln locked up newspaper editors and popularly elected legislatures for pointing out the simple, sober truth that the South was fighting for states' rights. The issue was not slavery. The issue was that basically the South was getting tired of money coming out of the South and going up to the North. It's like we agreed to a constitutional republic, you Yankees turned it into a democracy because there's more Yankees, Northerners, than there were Southerners. And we got tired of that. Let me be clear, the upside down flag is not meant as an insult, it is meant as a statement of fact. The fact is that we do not have a system of government that is based on the consent of the governed. We have a system that operates by deceit and duress. This is called a de facto government. The form of government we're supposed to have is called a de jure government. That's J-U-R-E, not like soup de jour. J-U-R-E means a lawful, limited, accountable government. And although politicians will talk the talk, oh God, it's so nauseating how they talk the talk about limited and government and accountable. The fact of the matter is that they lie us into war, they lie us into fraudulent socioeconomic policies, and then both sides blame the other while absolutely no one is held accountable. Ultimately, this system will collapse. Whether there's a comeuppance in the near future or when ultimately with the return of Christ is yet to be seen. But either we will reinstate a lawful government or we will go into the reign of the beast. As in Revelation 13, the thoraton is the Greek word beast. The issues that are, one, the fraudulent changes of the Constitution, two, the fraudulent so-called debt, where currency is conjured into being based on a supposed promise to pay back, yeah, right. How do you pay back money that didn't exist before the so-called loan? Not one single carpetbagger dare address the fact that all of this so-called debt is by nature fraudulent, that it is mathematically impossible to pay off this so-called debt, because debt, money, currency is conjured into being at interest, which means there's more debt than there is currency available to pay it. And the whole point of this fraudulent and corrupt system is to get us into perpetual debt where wealth is further and further concentrated in the hands of the oligarchy, that is olig meaning few, archy meaning the rule of the few. What we have is a plutocracy, that is to say those that run this scam. And to be clear, the Federal Reserve System is simply the American component of this global plutocracy. One thing that needs to be understood, the nations that yet have yet to have a private central bank controlled by the Rothschilds has been diminishing. Iran is one of the few countries left that do not have a private central bank controlled by the Rothschilds. Syria has one, but they really don't have a foothold because their so-called rebellion, their foreign paid mercenaries, are not succeeding. Libya, excuse me, was on that list, as was Iraq, as was Afghanistan, and a few other countries besides. War is a racket. We are not made safe nor free when America is spending almost as much as the rest of the world combined on militarism, yet our own borders remain wide open and not one single public official has been held accountable for leaving our own borders wide open. We need to reinstate the organic Constitution, the Constitution that we had before the war between the states. We need to reinstate the lawful militia. And that's a whole other issue in itself. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot be allowed to be lullabied into accepting the political theatrics that has led us to believe that we can change things by continuing to play the same sick game we have been.